Welcome to this Spokane and Coeur d'Alene housing market update. In this video, I'm going to bring you the facts that you need to know about the national and local housing market. It doesn't matter if you're planning on buying or selling in the next 2 weeks or 2 years. It's important to understand what the real estate market is doing right now and to understand what the overall trends are too. My name is Phil Wells. I'm a Washington and Idaho real estate agent that likes to keep up to date with the market, and I want you to be as informed as possible too. In this video, we're going to look at the national market. We're going to look at pending home sales, mortgage rates as well as mortgage application rates, the median home price, and what national inventory is doing. We'll then compare and contrast that national picture to what's happening here locally in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Before we get going, if you're looking for more information about the real estate market throughout the month, go and follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Let's get into it. Looking first at national pending home sales, which due to the lag in reporting, detail pending home sales from May. Contract signings were down 2.1% on a month-over-month basis from April into May. Year-over-year contract signings were down 6.6%. Normally, I'm only interested in that year-over-year figure because we're comparing apples to apples then when it comes to Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, which report their sales figures on a year-over-year basis. But we expect to see home sales improve as the weather does. So to see a pullback here in late spring is a little bit of a concern and is not something we should just overlook. Here's what the National Association of Realtors chief economist has to say about May's pending home sales. The market is at an interesting point with rising inventory and lower demand. Supply and demand movements suggest easing home price appreciation in upcoming months. Inevitably, more inventory in a job-creating economy will lead to greater home buying, especially when mortgage rates descend. The first half of the year did not meet expectations regarding home sales, but exceeded expectations related to home prices. In the second half of 2024, look for moderately lower mortgage rates, higher home sales, and stabilizing home prices. So lots of focus there on home prices this month. Are we entering a window of opportunity where home prices begin to stabilize and inventory increases? If you've been struggling to find the right home, then this might be a good opportunity for you. But remember, if and when mortgage rates do drop, things are going to be frenzied, mark my words. What are they doing? They're just absolutely rioting. Let's move on and look at mortgage rates. Obviously, the majority of people buy with the aid of a mortgage, so it's important to keep an eye on what mortgage rates are doing at any given moment. Just to illustrate how many people do rely on mortgages, this month some research published by the National Association of Realtors showed that only 28% of transactions took place on an all-cash basis. Yes, that's a huge number of cash buyers out there, but it just goes to show how many transactions are still going on that heavily rely on mortgage rates. Sticking with May for a second so we can really analyze that period in time. And we are looking at the 30-year conventional mortgage here. Mortgage rates at the start of May were at 7.41%, and by the end of May, they were at 7.17%, so a steady decline in rates there. In previous months, this much of a decline would have spurred a growth in home sales, so I'm curious as to why it didn't this month. Since May, rates have continued their steady decline to where they are today at 7.03%. Let's see if that continued decline in mortgage rates is enough to spur home sales in June. So what about mortgage application rates? This is exactly what it sounds like. We want to know how many people are actually applying for mortgages. I like to look at these figures because they're reported weekly, not with a 1-month delay like pending home sales. That way we can get a pretty up-to-date idea of what home buyer demand is looking like. In the first week of June, we saw an explosion of applications. They were up 15.6% from the week prior. We then saw much smaller increases throughout June until a 2.6% pullback in the last week of June. That ought to translate into a positive month for pending home sales in June, and hopefully we can look back next month at May's pending home sales as just a blip in what has been quite a positive first half of the year for pending home sales. Let's move on now and look at national median home prices and national inventory. National median home prices in May were $438,000, which is up 4.8% on a year-over-year basis. I don't think what that economist was saying before about home price appreciation beginning to slow is going to translate into any sort of price reductions. I do think, however, we are going to start to see that appreciation come down to the 1 or 2% range and maybe even plateau. But when mortgage rates do eventually fall, those prices are going to move up, and they're going to move up in a big way. National inventory is currently sat at 3.7 months worth of supply, which is up based on the previous few months. And homes are remaining on the market for about 24 days nationally. There is definitely more inventory out there for this summer selling season, and home prices continue to rise, but there is definitely some evidence that those home prices are going to stop rising so quickly. So let's summarize that national picture so we have something to compare our local markets to. Pending home sales decreased on a month-over-month and year-over-year basis, marking what seems to be a temporary downturn in what's otherwise being a very positive first half of the year for pending home sales. Mortgage rates are down overall, and they're hovering around the 7% mark. Are we going to be looking at mortgage rates with a 6 handle in the near future? I think probably so. Mortgage application rates in June bounced back in a big way, pointing to a potentially positive pending home sales report for June when it does come out next month. Home prices are up 4.8% with no immediate signs of slowing down, but on the horizon, economists are saying those prices are going to begin to slow down and plateau. Inventory is up to a 3.7 month supply, and it's taking just over 3 weeks nationally to sell a home. Now let's look at the Spokane market and compare it to that national picture we just outlined. Sales were down 15.5% year over year, which is far more pronounced than the decrease that we've seen in the rest of the nation, but Spokane is moving in the same direction as the rest of the nation for the same reasons. One thing I've noticed about Spokane over the years, it tends to just exaggerate what the rest of the nation does. So don't take this as an imminent crash coming in the Spokane market. Spokane has been behaving in this exaggerated fashion for as long as I can remember and as long as I've been making these market update videos. Median home prices were unchanged on a year-over-year basis to $425,000, so Spokane is fully $13,000 behind the rest of the nation in terms of the median price point there. That's what you want to see if you're a would-be buyer. No change in terms of prices from this time last year is a welcome reprieve from the endless appreciation we've been seeing in this market. As long as prices don't start to decline, this is good for everybody. Sellers can sell, buyers can buy. That's what we need to see with these high interest rates. The appreciation in spite of high interest rates never quite made sense to me, and it looks like in Spokane at least, that anomaly is coming to an end. Inventory remains very low and is at a 2.4 month supply. Local inventory, therefore, is substantially lower than the rest of the nation's, which means one thing: competition. And that's what we're seeing. The most desirable homes that are well priced are still going fast with multiple interested parties in Spokane right now. New listings are up, but they're only up 2% on a year-over-year basis, which is positive, but it's not enough to flood the market and impact prices in my view. So overall, Spokane is moving in the same direction and for the same reasons as the rest of the nation, but it is doing so in a much more exaggerated fashion, which is typical of Spokane. Buyers should look at this temporary plateau in terms of prices as an opportunity, and sellers should look at the low number of new listings as an opportunity to get the most exposure possible for their listing. And if you're interested in doing either of these two things, buying or selling, please give me a call and we'll get the ball rolling for you. Now let's look at the Coeur d'Alene market and see how it compares to the rest of the nation. Actual sales were down 10.9% on a year-over-year basis, which is more pronounced than the rest of the nation's year-over-year decline of 6.6%. That isn't enough of a breakaway to cause any concern just yet and start asking why Coeur d'Alene is behaving differently from the rest of the nation, but it is definitely something we should keep an eye on and see if a trend develops there. Median home prices are up in a big way. After a few months of declines, they're up to $545,000, which is an 8.12% year-over-year increase. Coeur d'Alene in summer is just about the most beautiful place in the country, and it seems people are willing to pay for a piece of it this month. There are just over 2,000 properties for sale across the Coeur d'Alene MLS, which translates to a 5.8 month supply. That level of inventory would typically point to a bounced market and price stabilization, but we're not seeing that. Despite the drop in home sales, home prices here are still rising in a big way. Will they experience that pullback referenced by the National Association of Realtors chief economist? Or will Coeur d'Alene break away from the direction of the rest of the country? Let's watch this space. Days on market in the Coeur d'Alene area are currently 82.5 days on market, and that trend is heading down. I have a theory though that there are a lot of expensive homes that are just sat on the market that are messing up those days on market figures. So if you're interested in how long your home will take to sell at your price point, then give me a call and I'll be happy to go over the data with you. Buyers in this market should be targeting those homes that have got a lot of days on market if they're looking for a deal. And if you're looking for those most desirable homes that are coming up as new listings, then you're going to want to act on those as quickly as possible in order to secure those contracts. Sellers in this market recognize that they are sat on a valuable commodity, but they must also recognize that it will take quite a while for them to sell their home. It's a bizarre market for sellers right now, yes, but you can help yourself by properly preparing your listing for market and pricing it appropriately. That's it for this video. I hope you gained from the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. That really does help me. If you are looking at buying or selling property here in the Spokane or Coeur d'Alene area, please reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or get in touch with me on Instagram, and I'd be honored to work with you. Until the next video, my name is Phil Wells, and thank you for watching.